Hello, welcome to Nattys Crafts. I'm Natalie. I always do all the crafting. And today we're going to do a dupe of something that Liz Fenwick made last week, I think it was. I'll put a link to her video down below. And do you remember when Unicorn Dust Designs, when Sammy used to do Try It Tuesday? Basically, that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to do it by ourselves without a big group. So, go ahead, give the video a big thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe. When you subscribe, you should hit the bell so you know when the next video comes out. Let's go ahead and go take a look. Today we're going to do a dupe from Liz Fenwick's canvas video she did not too long ago. We'll need some paper, plastic bags, some paint, a canvas if you want to use canvas. I actually didn't use canvas at all. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this plastic bag as the art form. So we're going to make a little knot at the bottom of the bag. The bag should be inside out. When you make the knot, make it normal and then turn the bag inside out so that there's no paint or anything from the Dollar Tree sign or whatever bag you're using. And we're going to make a little air bubble at the bottom of the bag. That's the idea. So you're going to make the knot, turn it inside out, and then make a kind of like a little air bubble. You may have to flush it out a little bit so that you've got some space where the air will sit and it'll make a really cool design. This seems odd, but when I saw her do it, I thought, wow, that looks really good. Once you've got your little bag in hand, we're going to push it into some paint and then take a little bit of that paint off, and then we're going to put it down on your canvas or paper or wood or whatever you're making your art on. Now I have a silicone mat on my table, which is why I'm just putting the paint on the silicone mat. She used paper to put her paint on. You know, do it whatever's easiest for you. I recommend everyone have a silicone mat. It's the easiest life in the world. And then you get to put whatever colors you want. She recommended putting your dark colors first, of course, and then if you have more than one color you're using, and then go lighter. So I'm starting with black. My colors are going to be black, dark purple, and silver. And so I started with my black. You do have to dry each color before you move on to the next color. So I'm just going to use my hairdryer and quickly dry both pieces because I made two pieces at the same time. Then we're going to move on to the next color. So we're going to start with a brand new bag, another Dollar Tree bag, and then turn that bag inside out. Once you've got your knot, make the little air bubble, put a little pile of paint, and then again, you're just going to dab your bag into that paint and then take a little bit off by pushing the bag onto the silicone mat or onto paper. That's not going to be part of your art piece. It's almost like a stamp. You're almost making a stamp. And then you get to make this look however you want it to look. So however much color you want or however little color you want, you know, this is fun because it's totally up to you and how you want it to be. You know, I love this abstract art. If you watched any of my videos, you know by now that I love this abstract art. So this was really good for me. I really like this. And again, with the silicone mat, look, you just wipe that paint up and it's easily as it gone. And then I'm doing the same colors on both of my pieces because again, I used a wood round from Dollar Tree and then I used a piece of craft paper for the other one. And then last, I'm going to use my silver or my gray in another bag. Then we're going to tie the knot in, turn it inside out, put some paint on, dab some of that paint off, and then dab it onto your art piece. I found this to be just really fun. I don't know. I really like this. And when she made it, I knew I would like it because it's just that kind of weird abstract that I love so much. And I'm putting the craft paper into this frame. Now, ironically, this frame holds a different dupe of hers that I did last year or maybe 2 years ago. So that's kind of funny that I'm removing a dupe and putting in a new dupe. But that's what I'm doing. That was, what was that? The paint pour, I think? Something like that. I don't remember what it was called. And so I'm just going to cut down. Now this paper was a little bit bigger than my frame would allow. So I used the backing of the frame and cut the edges of the paper off so that it would fit perfectly into the frame.
And then I'm going to use my paper cutter because this one I don't want it to be uneven or anything. So I am going to pull out my paper cutter and cut this down on the lines that I drew. So simple and easy. Like, this is just easy crafts that everyone can do. And realistically, if you have kids or grandkids, they could do this because they could just use scissors to cut. I mean, if they're old enough, I guess, to use scissors. I don't know. How old do you have to be to use scissors? I don't know. And then I always like to figure out what's the top and the bottom because that's just how I am. There is a top and a bottom to everything, I think. So once I figured out which was the top and which was the bottom, I then had to make it fit into this frame and put the backing on. And ta-da! I love it. I love it. And then for the wood piece, it had this little twine hanger. I'm not a super big fan of twine, and so I'm just going to paint the twine black. And I'm just going to use that by using a plastic glove on my hand and just rubbing the paint onto the twine. I suppose you could have used a paintbrush somehow, but I just figured this would be just the easiest and quickest way to turn this piece of twine black. I have black rope, but it is too thick for the little holes that are in here. And this was already set up. You know, this is a Dollar Tree hanger. So just paint it if you want to paint it. Don't if you don't care. I ended up just doing two layers or layers, 2 coats of black paint on this little hanger. And then I did have to dry it with the hairdryer and let it dry for a while. I'm afraid I didn't let it dry long enough. You'll see that later. But now this has this little edge. It's not a very thick edge, but it's thick enough that you can see it if you walk up to the piece from the side. And I didn't want it to be brown. So I took my little Dollar Tree marker and I'm painting the edge of the sign black. And that way, if you see it from the side, it looks a little bit more finished, in my opinion. And I really like that. And then I get to put the almost dry hanger back into the piece. You see my fingers got all black right there? It wasn't quite dry. But I think they were adorable. I really like the one in the frame. I really like it. It's up. It's hanging now. I took this out of my bathroom, the other one, and so it's now been replaced with this one. I love it. I think it looks textural. It looks, I don't know. I just really like this one. I recommend everyone try it. And this one's a little bit less my style, maybe. I perhaps should have painted the piece white first, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to probably try to do it on the other side of this same piece, paint the piece black, and then use light colors to put the design on. I might try to do that. And thank you so much for stopping by today. I sure hope you can give the video a big thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe. When you subscribe, you should hit the bell so you know when the next video comes out. Remember to appreciate today, as tomorrow is never promised. Thanks, y'all. Y'all have a great one.